6 mistakes older men make that push women away. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about 6 critical mistakes that many older men make, mistakes that quietly push women away, even when the intentions are good. These are not about superficial flaws or random errors. These are patterns in behavior that can slowly erode connection, attraction, and intimacy. Whether it's failing to grow personally, overemphasizing life experience, or taking a woman for granted, each of these mistakes can have a profound impact on relationships. Understanding them is the first step toward change. And by the end of this discussion, you'll know exactly what to avoid to build stronger, more meaningful connections. Gentlemen, let's begin with one of the most overlooked yet critical mistakes older men make: neglecting personal growth. Life is a journey, and growth is the fuel that keeps us moving forward. As men age, there's often a sense that the best years of self-improvement are behind us, that we have already arrived at who we are meant to be. But the truth is, growth never stops, and neither should we. When a man stops evolving, it shows, and women notice it, often subconsciously. They are drawn to vitality, curiosity, and energy, all of which come from continuous self-improvement. When these qualities diminish, attraction can fade. Growth is not just about physical appearance, though staying fit and healthy certainly plays a role. It's about your mind, your emotions, and your ambitions. Women are naturally attracted to men who demonstrate that they have a life they are excited about. This doesn't mean flaunting wealth or status. It means showing that you are committed to bettering yourself in every way possible. Are you learning new skills? Are you exploring new ideas? Are you challenging yourself mentally and emotionally? These are the things that keep you engaging, stimulating, and interesting to a woman. Without them, life can feel stagnant, predictable, and uninspiring, and no one wants to be in a relationship that feels like a routine rather than an adventure. It's also about emotional growth. Many older men, especially those who have experienced significant life challenges, may have built walls around themselves to protect against vulnerability. They may think that showing emotion is a weakness, or that their experience alone should be enough to attract and keep a partner. But emotional growth requires courage, the courage to examine your fears, confront your insecurities, and communicate openly. Women sense emotional depth, and they are drawn to men who are willing to face their own inner complexities rather than hiding behind routines or a facade of stoicism. Growth, in this sense, is about self-awareness, the willingness to change old patterns, and the ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Personal growth also means maintaining curiosity about the world. Older men often settle into habits and comfort zones which can make conversations feel repetitive or dull. A man who continues to explore new experiences, whether it's reading, traveling, or developing a new hobby, shows that he values his own life and has the capacity to bring excitement and perspective into a relationship. Women want a partner who can challenge them intellectually, inspire them emotionally, and encourage them to explore their own potential. Stagnation, on the other hand, signals a lack of ambition and can quietly push someone away over time. Even in practical terms, personal growth reflects confidence. When a man invests in himself, he demonstrates that he values his own time, health, and mind. That confidence radiates in subtle ways, through posture, tone, the way he engages in conversation, and the choices he makes. Women feel it instinctively. Conversely, when a man stops investing in growth, it signals complacency. It sends a message that life has become routine and that he no longer seeks improvement or challenge. That can be far more damaging than any specific mistake because it erodes long-term attraction slowly and silently. So, gentlemen, the first step in building a lasting connection is embracing growth in every aspect of life. Physical health, mental stimulation, emotional awareness, and curiosity are not optional. They are essential. When you commit to becoming the best version of yourself, you not only enrich your own life, but you also create an energy and presence that naturally draws women closer. Growth is magnetic, and it's never too late to start. Let's move on to another mistake that older men often make without even realizing it: overemphasizing age or experience. Many men believe that the number of years they have lived or the challenges they have overcome automatically earns them respect, admiration, and attraction from women. While experience can certainly be a source of wisdom and confidence, leaning on it too heavily can actually have the opposite effect. When a man constantly reminds others of how much he has seen, how much he knows, or how much life he has lived, it can come across as arrogance rather than strength. Women are drawn to confidence, yes, but there is a fine line between confidence and self-importance. When that line is crossed, the result can be disconnection and distance. Experience should be subtle, not a billboard. Women are attracted to men who demonstrate wisdom through their actions, choices, and the way they handle challenges, rather than through constant reminders or lectures. Sharing life lessons is valuable when it comes naturally in conversation, or when it genuinely helps someone, but making it a central theme of interaction can feel like a lecture rather than a connection. Imagine being in a room with someone who constantly references their own achievements, history, or knowledge. Even though the person may be accomplished, it can feel overwhelming, competitive, or even dismissive of the woman's own experiences. Women want to be seen, heard, and respected, not overshadowed by a recounting of past victories or hardships. Another subtle aspect of this mistake is using experience as a shield to avoid vulnerability. Some older men assume that their life experience is enough to impress women, and as a result, they avoid showing their emotions or admitting when they are uncertain. They may think that being stoic, guarded, or wise makes them attractive, but real connection comes from authenticity and relatability. Women want to feel a sense of equality and emotional intimacy with a partner. Constantly emphasizing how much more you know or have lived can inadvertently create a hierarchy in the relationship where the woman feels undervalued or dismissed. There's also a danger in letting experience become an excuse for rigidity. Older men often say things like, "I've been through this before," or "I know better than you," believing that their perspective alone should guide decisions or conversations. While guidance can be appreciated, insisting on it without consideration for her thoughts or feelings communicates control and superiority. Women are drawn to men who can balance wisdom with openness, who can lead when necessary but also listen and adapt. Overemphasizing experience can stifle dialogue and prevent a genuine exchange of ideas, which is crucial for connection and intimacy. It's important to remember that attraction is not built on accomplishment alone. It is built on energy, presence, and respect. Age and experience are tools, not guarantees. How you carry yourself, how you respond to challenges, and how you make a woman feel in your presence matters far more than the number of years you have lived. Confidence grounded in humility, curiosity, and genuine engagement is far more magnetic than a constant reminder of your past. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Let experience enhance your connection, not dominate it. Share your wisdom when it serves the moment, but never let it become a crutch or a barrier to intimacy. Women are drawn to men who are confident yet humble, knowledgeable yet open, experienced yet still curious about life and the people around them. By finding this balance, you create space for mutual respect, emotional closeness, and lasting attraction. Now let's address one of the most critical mistakes older men often make: lack of emotional availability. This is a subtle yet powerful factor that can quietly push women away without a man even realizing it. Emotional availability is not about being overly sentimental or dramatic. It's about being present, open, and willing to engage with your feelings in a healthy and authentic way. Women are naturally intuitive, and they can sense when a man is emotionally closed off or unwilling to share his inner world. Over time, this lack of openness can create distance, frustration, and even resentment. Many older men have spent years learning to protect themselves, sometimes because life has been challenging, sometimes because vulnerability felt risky. They may have built walls to shield themselves from disappointment, heartbreak, or rejection. While self-protection is understandable, these walls often prevent genuine connection. Women crave emotional intimacy just as much as they value respect, intelligence, or stability. When a man avoids expressing his feelings, hides his fears, or refuses to discuss difficult topics, it communicates that he is unavailable in ways that matter most in a relationship. Emotional closeness cannot exist without emotional presence. Being emotionally available means acknowledging your own emotions and being willing to share them appropriately. It doesn't mean overwhelming a partner with every thought or insecurity, but it does mean creating a space where feelings are expressed honestly and respectfully. When a man is willing to talk about his hopes, struggles, and even mistakes, it fosters trust and deepens connection. Women appreciate this kind of openness because it signals that you are secure enough to be vulnerable and strong enough to handle the intimacy that comes with it. A common mistake is confusing stoicism with strength. Many men believe that appearing unshakable or detached demonstrates maturity or resilience. However, this can backfire. Emotional detachment often comes across as indifference or lack of investment in the relationship. Women need to feel that the man they care about is emotionally present, responsive, and capable of engaging with the highs and lows of life alongside them. Strength is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to experience, understand, and communicate it without fear or shame. Another aspect of emotional unavailability is avoiding difficult conversations. Conflicts, fears, and vulnerabilities are part of life, and avoiding them doesn't make them disappear. In fact, suppressing emotions only builds tension and erodes intimacy over time. Women notice when a man consistently withdraws from these moments or refuses to discuss important matters. Over time, this pattern can create feelings of loneliness, dissatisfaction, and even doubt about the man's commitment. Emotional availability is about facing these challenges together, showing empathy, and demonstrating that you can be counted on not just physically or financially, but emotionally as well. Emotional growth is continuous. It requires self-reflection, patience, and courage. Men who make an effort to understand their own emotions are better equipped to connect deeply with the women in their lives. They listen attentively, respond with care, and show empathy in ways that make women feel truly seen and valued. Emotional availability is not a weakness. It is a strength that builds trust, intimacy, and enduring attraction. The takeaway is clear. No matter your age, emotional presence is non-negotiable if you want to cultivate meaningful relationships. Suppressing feelings, avoiding vulnerability, or hiding behind stoicism may have protected you in the past, but it will not sustain a loving connection. By embracing emotional availability, you not only enrich your own life, but also create a safe, authentic space where a woman can connect with you fully. Emotional presence is magnetic, and it is one of the most powerful ways to ensure that your relationships thrive and endure. Let's now explore another mistake that often goes unnoticed but has a profound impact on relationships: being overly critical or controlling. Many older men, often unintentionally, fall into the habit of offering advice that comes across as judgment, or trying to steer situations to match their own preferences. While the intention might be to guide or protect, the result can push women away and create a sense of tension and distance. Understanding the subtle difference between guidance and control is essential for anyone who wants to maintain a healthy, loving connection. Being overly critical can start in small ways, with seemingly harmless comments about choices, habits, or behaviors. It might be an offhand remark about the way a woman dresses, handles her work, or organizes her life. At first, these comments may seem constructive or even helpful, but over time, constant critique erodes self-confidence and creates an invisible barrier between partners. Women, like all human beings, want to feel appreciated, respected, and supported. When a man's words consistently carry judgment, it sends a message that she is never quite enough, no matter what she does. This undermines attraction and diminishes the emotional closeness that is crucial for a thriving relationship. Control is another subtle yet powerful dynamic that can push women away. Some older men may assume that their experience, age, or knowledge gives them the right to dictate decisions or influence every choice in a relationship. This could manifest as insisting on how finances are managed, what social activities to participate in, or even how to handle personal or professional matters. While guidance can be valuable when requested, forcing decisions or disregarding a woman's autonomy signals a lack of respect. Women are naturally drawn to men who are confident and capable, but they are equally drawn to men who honor their independence and opinions. Control, even with the best intentions, can feel suffocating, leading to frustration and emotional withdrawal. A critical part of overcoming this mistake is learning the art of communication. Offering advice should come from a place of support, not superiority. It should empower rather than belittle, asking questions, listening, and engaging in collaborative problem solving fosters mutual respect and partnership. Women appreciate a man who can balance insight with empathy, who can guide without overpowering, and who respects the right to make her own decisions. This approach nurtures trust and strengthens attraction, as it demonstrates confidence without arrogance. It's also important to recognize the emotional impact of criticism and control. When a woman feels judged or restricted, she may begin to withdraw emotionally, even if she doesn't voice it. Over time, these small withdrawals accumulate, creating a distance that can be difficult to bridge. Women want to feel safe in expressing themselves, knowing that their feelings, opinions, and choices are valued. When criticism or control dominates interactions, safety and connection are compromised. Emotional intimacy suffers, and the relationship risks losing its spark. Moreover, being overly critical or controlling often stems from insecurity. A man may fear losing influence, respect, or admiration, and in response, tries to assert authority in ways that feel controlling. Addressing these insecurities within oneself is essential. When a man develops inner confidence, he no longer needs to assert dominance through criticism or control. Confidence allows for encouragement instead of judgment, collaboration instead of dictation, and partnership instead of dominance. The lesson here is clear. Relationships thrive on mutual respect, empathy, and understanding, not judgment or control. Learning to communicate with care, to guide without dominating, and to encourage without criticizing is not a small task. It is a transformative skill that enhances connection and deepens intimacy. When a man approaches a relationship with confidence grounded in respect, he creates an environment where women feel valued, supported, and free to be themselves. That is the essence of attraction, trust, and enduring love. Gentlemen, let's now focus on a mistake that is far more common than many realize, yet has one of the biggest impacts on relationships: the failure to listen actively. Listening is not just about hearing words. It's about fully engaging with what is being communicated, understanding the emotions behind them, and responding in a way that shows genuine attention and care. Many older men, despite their best intentions, fall into the trap of listening just enough to reply, rather than listening to understand. This subtle misstep can create feelings of frustration, disconnection, and even emotional distance over time. Active listening begins with presence. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get distracted by phones, schedules, or internal thoughts. A woman speaking to you is offering a window into her world, her feelings, and her perspective. When a man is distracted, impatient, or preoccupied, it communicates that what she has to say is not truly important. Women want to feel heard, understood, and valued. They want to know that their thoughts, opinions, and experiences are taken seriously. Listening actively is the most straightforward and profound way to communicate respect and care. Many men make the mistake of turning conversations into monologues. They respond with stories about themselves, advice, or solutions without fully considering what the woman is trying to communicate. While offering insight can be helpful at times, it should never overshadow the need to understand her perspective first. Women naturally want connection, not a lecture. They want their emotions acknowledged and validated, not minimized or redirected. By failing to listen actively, a man can unintentionally convey disinterest or dismissal, even when he genuinely cares. Listening actively also involves paying attention to nonverbal cues. Tone, body language, and facial expressions often carry more meaning than words alone. A woman might say one thing but feel another, and it is the attentive listener who can sense the underlying emotion and respond appropriately. Ignoring these cues or failing to engage with them can create misunderstandings, tension, and emotional distance. Women appreciate men who notice subtleties, respond with empathy, and make them feel truly understood. This is not just about being polite, it is about cultivating intimacy and trust through mindful engagement. Another common mistake is interrupting or prematurely offering solutions. Many men want to fix problems because they feel responsible or want to be helpful. However, in most cases, a woman is seeking understanding and empathy first, not immediate solutions. Jumping in with advice too quickly can make her feel unheard or undervalued. Patience is key. Allow her to express herself fully and respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. This builds a strong foundation of trust and emotional safety that strengthens the relationship over time. Active listening also requires curiosity and openness. Ask questions to clarify, reflect on what has been said, and engage in meaningful dialogue. This signals that you are genuinely interested in her world, her thoughts, and her feelings. A man who listens actively shows that he values more than just the surface-level aspects of a relationship. He values connection, understanding, and mutual growth. Over time, this attentive behavior creates a bond that is far more enduring than charm, wealth, or status ever could. Gentlemen, the takeaway here is simple yet powerful. Listening actively is not optional in building meaningful relationships. It is essential. Women want to feel truly seen, heard, and understood. When a man listens with presence, empathy, and patience, he communicates respect, care, and genuine interest. Failing to do so can quietly erode intimacy, even in the strongest of relationships. By cultivating active listening, you create an environment of trust, emotional safety, and deep connection, and that is what keeps attraction and love alive over the long term. Let's now explore the final mistake that can quietly erode relationships over time: taking women for granted. This is a trap that many older men fall into without realizing it, especially after years of companionship or routine. Over time, familiarity can create a false sense of security, leading some men to assume that love, attention, and affection are automatic. Yet, the truth is that relationships require ongoing effort, appreciation, and engagement. When a woman feels taken for granted, it doesn't matter how strong the foundation once was. Slowly, connection, intimacy, and attraction begin to fade. Taking women for granted often starts subtly. It might be small gestures, like not acknowledging the things she does, forgetting to express gratitude, or assuming that affection and attention are owed rather than earned. Even minor lapses repeated over time can accumulate into a feeling of invisibility or underappreciation. Women, like all human beings, thrive on recognition and appreciation. When these are missing, they may feel undervalued, frustrated, or emotionally disconnected. What is crucial to understand is that love and attraction are not static. They need nurturing, attention, and consistent care. Another dimension of this mistake is assuming that familiarity automatically equals comfort. Many men believe that because a woman has chosen to be with them, her feelings, loyalty, and admiration are guaranteed, but emotional connection is not a permanent entitlement. It is cultivated daily through attention, consideration, and respect. A man who stops investing in the relationship, who stops making small gestures of kindness, or who stops showing interest in his partner's life is sending a subtle message: I don't need to try anymore. Women pick up on this instinctively, and over time, it can lead to disengagement, resentment, and even emotional withdrawal. Taking women for granted can also manifest in neglecting communication, not asking about her day, failing to notice her feelings, or ignoring her needs creates distance. Women want to feel that their partner is attentive and invested in their emotional well-being. When a man stops checking in, stops listening, or stops showing interest in her life, he unintentionally communicates that she is no longer a priority. This lack of effort can be far more damaging than overt mistakes because it slowly erodes the sense of partnership and intimacy that relationships depend on. The antidote to this mistake is conscious appreciation. Gratitude, acknowledgement, and thoughtful gestures, even small ones, go a long way in sustaining love and attraction. Compliment her genuinely, express thanks for the things she does, and make her feel valued every day. Show interest in her dreams, her concerns, and her experiences. These actions signal that you are present, attentive, and invested in the relationship, and they reinforce emotional intimacy. Women do not need grand gestures every day. They need consistent effort that demonstrates they are cherished and seen. Taking women for granted also reflects a deeper issue: complacency. Men who stop growing personally or emotionally often carry the same attitude into their relationships, assuming that effort is no longer necessary. The truth is, every relationship is a living entity that requires care, attention, and nurturing. When a man invests time, energy, and genuine presence into his partner, it fosters a bond built on respect, trust, and lasting attraction. Conversely, neglect breeds dissatisfaction, emotional distance, and vulnerability to outside influences that can harm the relationship. Appreciation and effort are the lifeblood of lasting connections. Taking women for granted is not just about failing to notice them. It is about failing to honor them, value them, and invest in the relationship consciously. By showing gratitude, listening attentively, and maintaining consistent effort, you create an environment of love, respect, and deep emotional connection. When a woman feels valued and cherished, she responds with loyalty, affection, and genuine intimacy, creating a relationship that not only survives but thrives over the years. Gentlemen, understanding these 6 mistakes is just the beginning. True growth and stronger relationships come from awareness, effort, and intentional action. If you found these insights valuable and want more guidance on building deeper connections and becoming the best version of yourself, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson that can change your life. Remember, the effort you put into yourself today reflects in every relationship you have tomorrow.